Yes, this is an old school movement. We're here again, man. Yeah, you're hearing us again. You know, it's like, hey, did we hear him last week? Yes, we're back again because we want to give you the best that we can. Isn't that right?
That's it, yeah. Quality ain't going to be as good. We can't all get in the studio, which we're missing the studio. I'm sure all of us, Stacks especially, you're missing the studio, man.
Missing it hard.
This is odd for all of us sitting here in our own yard, sitting here, remote recording, but we're making it happen. We're working it out. We're working out how we can keep these things going, and the more time on our hands, the more we can get to you. And we still got loads to say. So that's it. So we just want to give you a weekly dose of old.
We're trying
to hit it up weekly if we can. We're trying.
We're going to try. We're going to try and have some new features in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so something in the pipeline.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can hang tight and
keep an eye on our social medias. If you follow that, there's going to be some bits up soon about little thing we got cooking for the next couple of shows, maybe. So anyone who follows us online, just keep an eye out on that, and you'll see what we're talking about soon.
That's right. Chris sounds like a Robert News reader. Love it.
I haven't got the papers, man.
Yeah. So I just hope you guys are staying safe, and thanks for locking in and listening to us. And as promised, we're going to give you comedies, UK comedies part 2. So we've spoke about this, the solo artists, Benny Hills, Ken Everett's, and all the rest of them. But now it's all about duos, man. We're going to start with Bert and Ernie.
What the two old men? That's a comedy too, man. I've gone in Sesame Street. That was on the balcony.
No, in the Muppet Show you're talking about.
That's what I meant to say.
Waldorf and Statler, I think they were.
Yeah. They're the first duo I remember.
They were brilliant, man.
They were wicked.
They were. You know what? I can't remember any of their one-liners, but they had one-liners. That's what they were all about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just picture that one that's laughing.
Yeah. Or, I think there's one that, and he goes, "What was your favorite part of the show?" And he goes, "The end."
That's what it was. I think it was on that line.
It was those kind of one-liners those two gave.
I love those ones.
So
what really like best?
Yeah. So as being a kid, as Stacks was saying, that's probably the first duos that I saw and was impressed with. And they weren't even human.
Yeah.
And then
but duos.
All our duos, like you say, all our duos probably weren't the human kind. They were the puppet or the cartoon.
Yeah, as you say, with Bert and Ernie, Tom and Jerry. The list goes on. But I can't even think of any more. It's always like that. If you try to think of duos on the spot, and you can't think of them, Drifter Bars, Twix, they're duos, aren't they? But now we're going to go back to comedy duos. So let's start with Cannonball, man. Rock on Tommy.
Classic telly.
Classic telly. Like, I think I first saw them on a show, and then they had their own show.
Yeah. They might have been on one of them old school
variety performances. Right?
And before that, I'm thinking one of them. So when you're trying to make a break for it, what's them?
New Faces or whatever.
New Faces, that's it. I'm thinking they might have started on one of them, but they got their break in '79 when LWT offered them their own series. So like you say, they must have been doing something before that. From that
where were Cannonball from?
I'm not sure.
They definitely had an accent because he went Rock on Tommy.
Yeah, they definitely had an accent.
So,
they were definitely
like Middlesbrough or something, or Leeds or something. I don't know.
Like that, yeah. They had them weekly shows every week, all the way through to 88, and they always done their Christmas and Easter specials. They had them special shows with people on and stuff.
Yeah,
I remember going to see him. I remember a relative. I was staying with him uptown, and we went to see him at the Palladium. And
staying uptown.
Staying not central, but we're staying just out, Northwest One, that area, sort of.
Yeah.
We got tickets to go and see him. It wasn't one of the TV ones, I don't think. It was just them live at the Palladium in London.
Yeah.
I must have been about probably maybe 10 or 11. So I don't remember much of it, but there's only one bit I can remember, and that was Bobby Ball and Tommy Kennedy.
Bobby Ball.
Tommy went to sit down, and Bobby had his hand on the stool with his finger on the stool, and as he sat down, his finger popped up between Tommy's legs. The whole Palladium lost it.
And that's kids' entertainment. Man sticking his finger up, man.
I think I was probably one of the youngest people there. Elder people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why they call Cannonball, isn't it? That's what you tried to get.
Rock on Tommy. Do you remember they done this? In 82, do you remember they done a film called The Boys in Blue? And they both
they were police.
Police, I quite liked it, but it was such a flop, man.
Mate, I think I went cinema to see that.
Oh my god!
I think I went cinema with my mum. I think I did because there's something about that film that it's almost like a dream. Like I don't remember it at all, so I must have been really young.
You remember it, but you don't remember it.
Yeah, and my mum used to love
Boys in Blue.
Boys in Blue.
Oh yeah.
Saying that, like I got that same sort of feeling. What you just said, that like I think I might have gone to see it. It's one of them films like that. I know I went to the cinema to see it.
And the only thing that gets me is that I remember seeing it, but being in a dark room. You know what I'm saying? Which is a bit weird. Like,
it's a bit,
we ain't gonna have the lights off to watch a movie in '82. That's not gonna. You know what I mean? But I think I think I might have gone cinema.
I think it done that badly. That was the only film outing they had. You know, they went back to doing their TV stuff, and
it was quite good though.
It was quite early on in there. It was only like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I liked it.
I remember. I
liked it at the time.
So I remember Smith and Jones had Morons from Outer Space.
Yes,
you remember that?
Did, didn't it? Yeah, I do remember that. I vaguely remember that.
I didn't get into Smith and Jones.
So I remember seeing posters for Boys in Blue, Cannonball, Morons from Outer Space, and Clockwise.
Morons from Outer Space. Yeah, that's another one. I'm not
Clockwise
sure.
Rings a bell.
I don't remember what it was about. I don't know if they were aliens.
Yeah, they were good. I don't know if you remember as well with Cannon and Ball. They remember the magazine Looking. We all used to get the Looking in it. Read it.
They had their own strip, didn't they?
They had a comic strip. Yeah, do you remember?
Yes.
Rock on
Is it black and white? I remember seeing it in black and white.
That was it. I saw a picture of it when I was searching for stuff. Yeah, and I was like, wow, I remember that.
I
used to read it much, but it was just a little comic strip of them in the Looking.
Yeah, Rock on Tommy.
Yeah,
I do remember. But that with a lot of these double acts that we're going to go through, it was always the shorter guy that kept the boat floating, kind of thing. As in the comedian, like the one who put the joke on the other person, but was also the joke.
Was the butt of the joke.
Because the other one's
trying to get it back on the straight guy.
Maintain normality.
The straight
and then the next dude's the one doing all the jokes and messing around.
It's like good cop, bad cop. It was like almost like the straight talking one, but they were both comedians, but they both worked in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
The way I saw it as well, years later, thinking back about it and thinking where are these comedy duos gone and why aren't they as popular? I looked at maybe as the little man in the duo always seemed to be getting bullied by the other one in a comic way, but I think maybe that's another reason they're not as popular, because I don't know. I think a little bullying element on them, and I don't know. It does. You don't see, apart from Ant and Dec, I don't know any other two duos these days, and they're not actually comedians.
They're not even comedians.
What done it as well was the head of programming at the time on ITV, which I think was Greg Dyke, during the mid '80s. He just said, this type of duos that they're not. They just don't suit Southerners' tastes anymore. It's that Northerners' joke. So. They sort of slowed them down a bit. And I don't know if you remember, I think going late 80s into the 90s, Cannon and Ball, the show stopped, but then they ventured into little TV shows. They had the one where they were, is it Plaza Patrol or something? And they were security guards.
That sounds familiar.
It weren't too bad. It was very much like that, boys. Headset slipped off there, sorry.
Hey, gentlemen, Invisible Man just ripped off.
What the I remember Plaza Patrol. I remember it was like one of them comedies. It was just literally the set was like one room. I think it was a security room, and they had cameras where they could monitor.
I vaguely remember that
supermarket, and they used to have. Like they were on the night shift, I think.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
I remember that.
It
was him that used to do the braces, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'd always want to see that on TV, but that was
every kid did.
That was the trademark bit, wasn't it?
That was the attraction to the show. If he didn't say Rock on Tommy and put his braces, you wouldn't be watching it.
Yeah, you would be watching it.
Because he looked like a Northern Michael Jackson and Billie Jean video anyway. So you already had the outfit on, and the braces just topped it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But you
look at him again and look at a picture of Michael Jackson and Billie Jean.
It's true.
And you'd expect Michael Jackson to say Rock on Tommy now. Both had the same hairstyle, same jacket, same bow tie.
Red bow tie.
Come on, man. Rock on.
Rock on. I like that.
But you know the Cannonball show? All I remember is the beginning where they both come on, introduce themselves, and Bobby Ball is taking a piss out of Tommy Cannon, and Tommy Cannon's trying to keep a straight face, and Bobby Ball's going rock on Tommy and pulling out his braces. And then I don't remember any of the show.
No.
Was there sketches?
There was sketches. There was sketches. I can't remember any of them, but like you, I can only remember the stand-up bit at the start and finish.
Yeah.
And even their one, a lot of the other ones we're probably going to talk about, they had something different at the finish that would make you want to watch the finish, to either sing along with it, or to see what they do, or to watch the bit like the Benny Hill, the one we spoke about. You know, that end scene in Benny Hill was one of the highlights of the show, wasn't it? That last 40 seconds of him running around, slapping the bloke, running it. That was wicked.
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming.
It was building. It was building to it.
It was building to it.
Yeah, while you was watching it, when every advert come on, you know, okay, one more advert to come, and then in the next segment, we're gonna see the chase.
We're gonna see the chase.
Building.
Not the chase that you guys know today.
Chase. Next question, Bradley. But the thing is, that's what I remember from Cannonball. Doing the stand-up bit at the beginning. I don't know any segments, if they had any guests, you know. But do you remember this? And we're probably going to say this about every duo show we're going to talk about. Do you remember? I'm sure Cannonball had this when, you know, halfway through the show they would have like Elkie Brooks or Cliff Richard do a number, sing a song. It was always someone in the charts, but not
blatantly
major charts.
No. the country charts.
It was like I don't know. It was Bonnie Tyler or something will come on and sing.
You know what? She was on all the time back then, though. Like she was on everything. Any program that was on, she was on.
They would tell a joke and go, "Now for Bonnie Tyler."
Yeah, man.
But it would always have someone like that.
They would do
it. It's true.
Most of them shows with that break.
That break. But yeah, Cannonball were the guys from up north. But the next duo, they were from London, right? They were from London. They both wore glasses. They were two Ronnies, man.
The glasses, right? I forgot about the glasses.
Yeah,
just the start or ending, isn't it? Yeah, the beginning or the end.
That was their logo,
glasses, isn't it? Yeah, that was wicked.
Yeah, so are the two Ronnies both from London then? Because I know one of them is, right?
No, one's just from outside. I think he's Bedford area that way, so just outside London, sort of home counties. But originally, the little one, Ronnie Corbett, he's from Scotland. I think. I'm sure he's from Scotland.
Okay.
There's no sound of Scottish.
Yeah, I don't really hear Scottish.
I'm sure he's from Scotland. But I read somewhere that Corbett was working at a bar in Soho to supplement his income as an acting when he was acting, but wasn't getting too many jobs. So he's working in this bar, and he remembers Barker walking up to the bar and him greeting him like a sketch that they would do. It was, "Evening, sir. What can I get you?" So you know how their sketches would start.
Not for full candles, did he?
No, you can imagine, isn't it? That's what you can imagine. And he describes it as, you know, it was like doing a sketch out of the two Ronnies after.
Oh wow! Just hit it off just like that.
Barker says the same and describes the same meeting as the same. It was he dropped a joke about, are you having to stand on two boxes to reach the spirit levels or something like? There was some jokes.
Right, there's humour when
so straight away they had
the
that.
Mick out of the guy, didn't he?
Yeah.
Humour on the off.
The small guy again, isn't it? The small guy's getting it like straight away.
Yeah. So what? But different to like say Cannonball, two Ronnies both held their own. You know, they both done their thing. Even though you saw more of Ronnie Barker was more of the character man. He would transform himself just like that, and he would be a completely different person every time you saw him as a different character.
It felt like a lot of the sketches were his material. Like,
were his material.
Where they let Corbett do the just him to camera.
And that's and that kind of like
brilliant. I love that.
That supplements his part. Like, I wrote this, let me do this bit. Do you know what I mean? And I think it worked.
Yeah, well, I remember them being. I don't remember, but I remember seeing. I think it must have been mid 70s or something. They were on the Frost Report, and they done a thing with John Cleese. You know the thing, you've seen it now when they're standing. And it's something about I'm middle class and he's lower class, but he's upper class. You know that sketch? That was from, I think, a thing called the Frost Report, which that was before the two Ronnies even become about. But I think that's what jumped him into the spotlight sort of thing.
Are you going to do your impression of David Frost now?
Hello, good evening, and welcome. I forgot about him. Yeah, David Frost through the keyhole.
No. The two Ronnies had a style that was like, you know, you could see that they like they met at the right time because they were both on top of their game and their craft, and it was like, you know, Barker just needed Corbett for that final piece of the puzzle, and likewise, you know, they complemented each other so well, and they could both hold their own. They had their own sitcoms after, you know, they had their own successes after.
Their spin-offs are wicked, both.
Open All Hours.
I think more Barker's spin-offs are amazing.
Yeah, so you had Open All Hours, you had Sorry, you had Porridge, you had so much different things they had going on for each other. But when they got back for 2 Ronnie's shows, that was magic.
So yeah, they ended up having 12 series of 2 Ronnies, 93 episodes in total. I was going to say as well, I remember not that long ago, 2007, you remember the famous sketch I love, the 4 Candles, the most famous sketch. The script for that sold at auction for £48,500.
No way.
It turned up on the Antiques Roadshow in 2006, and they had to get Ronnie Corbett to authenticate it, and he said, yeah, this is definitely one that Ronnie Barker would have had. And before he died, you know, he used to donate loads of things to charities. Yeah. This would have been one of the gifts that he would have given away, most probably. But yeah, so they ended up selling it, and yeah, $48,500 for someone who just come up with a script for 4 Candles.
Wow.
Wicked.
Yeah, and the Frost Report was the first time the 2 Ronnies had ever worked together. It was the Frost Report.
That was in black and white.
Yeah, that was black and white. That was when I looked down to him. He looks up to me. That one.
Yeah.
Do you remember how they used to sign out every night or every show?
Good night from him, good night from me.
And it's good night from him, and it's
because they started the show with the news report and ended the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So all the way through it, you had them do a little singer-song. They had remember the 2 farmers, like Last of the Summer Wine kind of farmers.
On the gate,
on the gate.
Pitchfork or
whatever. They had sketches, man.
So you had all these different sketches, and you could see that their comedy timing was just perfect. Even when they had the little sing-along numbers, you know. I remember a sing-along number they had. Do you remember when they were like a band with the big drums, like a brass band? Yeah. And he said something like, do you remember that girl, Mary? And he goes, yeah, the girl with the big boom. I remember seeing that as a kid and going, I know what he's thinking. I know what he really wanted to say. Because that was the era of Benny Hill and all that was the magic. You know, Page 3 of the Sun, all that, Carry On, all that was going on. The sexist days, you know. I'm not saying it was great. But
it was
entertaining. But when he played a boom, I was in stitches, mate. But that's the kind of things that they done, man. They just,
true.
You know,
never get away with that, man.
Was perfect. Never get away with it now.
You never have them again now, man.
So yeah, 2 Ronnies, love them. But you know, about the duos, we got to move on. Morecambe and Wise guys, not Morecambe and Wise guys, just Morecambe and Wise. Yeah.
Wise guys.
The Morecambe and Wise guys. My tribute act.
Eric Morecambe and Ernie Wise.
Hilarious too.
Yeah. Again, they were the way
they look like an old Ant and Dec.
Yes. Yes. That was definitely.
I never thought of that.
Yes, 100%. You know what? That could be them reincarnated.
No, they can't be, but they ain't as funny as them. So
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
No, the way they work together, them 2 work together wicked. Again, you had the straight man, funny man. This time it was the other way around. It was the short man was the straight man. The tall man was the funny goofy guy, wasn't he? Like yeah. Again, their chemistry was amazing. I'd say they ruled the airwaves in the 70s, and it leaked into the 80s, where we caught up with them in the early 80s to mid 80s.
These double acts got their inspiration from things like Marx Brothers and you know, Three Stooges and stuff like that, and
slapstick humor.
Elvis and Costello.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, those 2 as a comedy duo were absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of slapstick in that as well. I think that's where they got a lot of their...
I remember, does anyone remember this scene where they're having breakfast together and they do everything in time to the music?
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the timing is just incredible. Yeah.
And he's doing the orange juice. He's doing the orange juice. Oh, he just goes...
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris is pretending to squeeze 2
I got a feeling.
It looks like he's trying to grab our breasts on cam. I think this is the wrong kind of cam, Chris. He's trying to rub my breast, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, them pop-ups. I got a feeling saying that and about pop-ups. Weren't that to the music of like the strip? You know, the classic stripping music, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he was doing
Okay, stop rubbing my breast, man.
That was a wicked sketch. I love that sketch. That's one of the only
what
ones.
cracks me up in that is his face.
Oh, their faces are
You know, his expressions are just, he's always got the eyebrows, isn't it?
Yeah, the eyebrows are going, man. Yeah. That guy can keep a straight face, man. He reminds me of if someone was to sneak down for our White's Lemonade at night, that's him, innit? Wearing them pajamas with the vest.
Yeah, that look, innit?
He had that look, man. And I remember them particularly as well. Again, I can only really remember that sketch. I don't really remember many others, but like we say, they had so many shows that were on all the time. And
they did always used to have a special guest on.
Yeah, they did have special guests.
And then they would do funny things around them, singing, and then kind of join in. And
I do remember that.
I think were probably one of the best comedy duos, you know.
Yeah. Again, when I went to see Cannon and Ball, the relative that I used to stay with lived not far from Regent's Park, and at the time they put a monument up or a statue of Morecambe and Wise in Regent's Park. So that was another reason I used to like watching it, because I seen the statue and I used to want to watch that as well.
Yeah, no, they were funny though, man. They were mad.
They were good.
They were every week. I mean, my mum loved them.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. They're a weekly thing, and they're one of them family entertaining weekly things that we generally talk about and love.
Yeah, definitely. And me saying at the beginning, like they're the older Ant and Dec. They're also in between them is
that's a comedy joke. It's a comedy joke from the 90s, really, isn't it?
Their style and their look was similar to Morecambe and Wise too.
Vic and Bob,
Vic and Bob.
Very true.
Yeah. I used to love it. Shooting Stars, that was wicked. That changed game shows, I think, the way game shows were. But
their whole slapstick frying pan, like they done those same type of, they had the same kind of manoeuvres as Morecambe and Wise, man.
Yeah, the frying pan. But I'll tell you one of the things I did like about the show. So we can't remember much about the sketches apart from the kitchen sketch, but the end. Do you remember the end? Everyone used to watch it. It was one of them shows that they held it something back for the end because you wanted to see the way they walked off stage or the way they ended the show. It was always that little turn round, little dance and bring me sunshine. It was that little song.
You see that song? Did they write that song?
Bring Me Sunshine was a song written in 1966 by the composer Arthur Kent with lyrics by Sylvia D. It was recorded by the Mills Brothers in '68. Huh? But it's well known for Morecambe and Wise.
Well, how's the rest of it go?
Is it all the while?
I know the melody.
All the while, in this world where we live, there should be more happiness.
That's it.
So much joy you can give to each brand new
bright tomorrow.
You know how it goes.
Never bring me.
Okay. You sound like David Frost singing it.
Be as warm as
where are you getting these extra lyrics from?
Okay. Look, I'm going to move on swiftly to the next dudes.
Yes.
And the next duo is Little and Large, man. And, you know, we heard the sad news.
Eddie Large, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah. Glasgow-born, Manchester-raised comedian. He was already in hospital recently with apparently had heart failure. I heard on the news.
See, how old was he anyway?
He was 78. I hadn't seen or heard of him in a while, but recently there's been a radio commercial with them two on it, and I was so happy that I was like, man, it's like Little and Larger coming back. It was a good feeling to hear him, and that was only a few months ago. And so I was thinking, I didn't even know they were still around. I haven't heard from him in years, but he was 78. So
they were so comparative with Cannonball. They had, you know how people get Robert De Niro and Al Pacino mixed up. You can easily get those two mixed up because the other one had curly hair, the other one had grey hair, the other one was really funny and rounded. It was really like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I always knew him from others because one was little, one was large. And now how many people today would actually emphasize your size, with today's
that was their surnames though. They can't help it.
No, not that. Well, it was their stage names, wasn't it? But
no, that was his name.
I thought that was their real names.
No, his name Eddie Large.
I thought they had his name. It was something McGuinness. His real name.
Okay.
His real name. They said it on the news the other day. He said his real name.
Edward Hugh McGuinness.
That's it. And his stage name is Eddie Large.
Oh, I give you that.
Oh.
But yeah, I always thought, they took their names because of their size, isn't it? One was little and one was large.
Yeah.
You had the skinny one who had the massive thick glasses at the time.
Yeah, you know what? His glasses are really thick.
They were super thick.
My eyes watered looking at his eyes, like they were so thick, weren't they?
He would start some
everything would be
fires.
upside down. That's how thick they were.
Yeah,
say again?
Definitely.
They said if you look through them, everything would be upside down.
They were really thick. I thought I wore thick glasses, man.
Oh, 1 minute.
This guy wore some thick glasses, but again, they had some good sketches, and that's why I'm saying I always compare them with Cannonball, but there's so much similarities. And again, I know they started the show on stage doing stand up, and then you see sketches. They've done the same format.
Yeah,
it was
exactly the same.
Yeah. Both of their shows were so similar. You know, they would start the show.
The formats are the same.
Same formats. So.
The bit when they play off of each other, you'd have like probably a musical number, like Stacks was saying, a guest on as well, where either they'd do the musical number and they'd do a comedy routine around them. That format worked. It worked with all of these comedians.
Mate, I loved that format. I loved it. I remember an episode of Little and Large when they were dressed as Popeye and Olive, and Eddie was Popeye. Yeah,
I can remember that.
I remember that. I remember Eddie having a pipe in his mouth, and the other guy was on it. I said, these guys go all out, man. They've done so much caricatures of well-known stuff, and that's what I would watch out for them. But they would do stuff like the Flintstones. They would parody stuff that kids would watch as well.
Do you know I can't remember much of what Sid Little do. All I can remember is just Eddie Large just being larger than life. Just blurting things out. Again, taking the Mickey out of Sid.
Yeah, it was a good cop, bad cop type of situations, wasn't it?
A lot of people do look at them as being the people, the duo that paved the way for who you were saying earlier, Ant and Dec. I know you were saying Morecambe and Wise, but from what I was reading, a lot of people are, it's them too that they probably looked up. Maybe they're fans of them. I don't know, but it's like without.
Well, they did work with them. Ant and Dec worked with Little and Large.
Oh, did they? I didn't see
that.
They
did. In my research.
Yeah. So I know Eddie Large he only retired
to work with him.
He only retired in 2003, Eddie Large, and that was because he did have a heart transplant, and it was from that heart transplant and having to have regular drugs and whatever whatever treatment you need that he was in hospital for, which is when he caught the thing that's going around at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is sad.
Yeah, very sad, man. Great memories, great childhood memories.
Yeah, it's worth. If you don't know them, it's definitely worth going on YouTube for any.
If they don't know them, our listeners are old school, man.
There might be some younger listeners, you don't know. There might be some younger ones in their early 20s, mid-20s who miit not.
Nah, they're gonna know, man. They're
gonna know. If you're right.
Listeners, you know who we're talking about, right? So, some listeners might be listening and going, hold on, you talk about all these double acts. You haven't mentioned no females. And there wasn't a lot of female double acts in the 80s, as I can recall.
Great act.
But there was one great double act who's still going strong to this day. They were part of a big team with Lenny Henry and the Young Ones crew and Alexis Sell and all that crew, and they went out and done their own thing. From Vicar of Dibley and from Absolutely Fabulous had their own things going on. That's French and Saunders, man.
French and Saunders. Right. When you say Vicar of Dibley, doing French free comedy awards for Vicar of Dibley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Jennifer Saunders, her own thing, Emmy Award and international acclaim for Absolutely Fabulous. That's.
You see, the thing, I used to watch French and Saunders a lot when I was young, and if you look back at their sketches, I think they were ahead of their time. I honestly do. Some of the sketches today will have you in absolute stitches. Absolutely. When Dawn would dress up as a bloke and have beer and stuff. And,
yeah. I remember that.
Do the one where she's a giant and the other one's really small, and they'd have that kind of there'd be
yeah.
No one was doing that. No one. I think the funniest two women in the UK, hands down, no question.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. They
Definitely back
paved
in
the
the
way,
80s.
and there hasn't been no
it.
female duo to take their crown or to even come near them that I can think of.
Nowhere close.
You know,
I think Christmas just gone, possibly. Because it's been 25 years or something, or more than that, since they so they done a tribute thing.
20 years, the show run for 20 years, and it's finished in 2007, so 87 to 2007, 47 episodes. You know, must have been doing something right. And then they also do the comic strip as well, like you were saying. That's where they would work with the other people,
the young ones.
Yeah, exactly. So when they showed that, again, it can't have been any more than 6-7 months ago. I was in stitches, man. And I was like, I haven't seen these sketches for a long time. It just brought me back.
Yeah. I think it was on the French Saunders show. I remember one really clearly, and they were both. It was a regular strip where they both were dressed up as like dirty old men.
Yeah,
all like and they were just perving over women. I don't know if they were builders or I think they were just sitting outside the house.
It's hilarious.
That is amazing. I'm funny as that is good. That is the main thing. Whenever I think of the show, I think of these two women dressed up as dirty old men, like proper pervy old men over other, like sexually harassing other women, walking past them, or just talking about them, like things that they would do to them and stuff.
Yeah. So big up French and Saunders, man. But Sunday night, just after Spitting Image, you had double acts. You had a double act that would give you the management. They would have given you B&J, the children's TV presenters.
Hello, Billy.
Billy and Johnny. They would have given you. I can't. Top of my head, I can't remember some other ones. But hey, Hell and Pace, man.
They were good.
They were
you made sure you tuned in for that one, didn't it? You had to make sure you tuned in for that one. That was late 80s, isn't it? 88, 89, 88. I think that come out.
Because they were in the middle of that risque slapstick stuff, and they were still part of that new generation, young ones kind of generation as well. They were in the middle of that. Do you know what I mean?
They related to the young generation well, especially like Hello Billy, Hello Johnnies, and all of these.
Definitely.
Had kiddie sort of humour, but risque or pushing it as far as they could for 10 o'clock at night.
It weren't kiddie humour. They were dressed as kids presenters. Disgusting humour, but but if you got it, you got it. You know what I mean?
That's it.
You couldn't let a kid watch that.
No.
And I think
the crazy thing is, we were kids. So.
Yeah, we were kids watching it. Yeah, we were kids. That was one of them things you had to talk about next day at school. Did you watch Hale and Pace?
Did you watch it?
Yeah, if you didn't watch it,
Billy and John.
Yeah, you had to watch Hale and Pace.
Hale and Pace, man.
They were from South London as well, I think, weren't they? Or South East London or somewhere. They were like London comedians who done a few shows. I think they had a radio show, and they were big through the 80s on some radio show. But I'd never heard of them until they hit the TV with their own show. They sort of just come out of nowhere for me.
They did. They came out of nowhere, but I think they smashed it.
I vaguely remember maybe being on a sketch show called The Saturday Gang, which it was I think it was a Channel 4 thing. Maybe it didn't last too long. It was maybe like, you remember how we used to say we used to see loads of money on the show. You used to come on and do like 10-second sketch. I got a feeling there was a thing called Saturday Gang or a sketch show called Coming Next around 85, and the Saturday Gang was around 86. And apparently they'd been in the Young Ones a few times, like little parts in the Young Ones as well.
I don't remember seeing them on the Young Ones, but
I don't remember. But I was thinking about it. There was a lot of people on the Young Ones, innit? They used to bring on.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't seen them already, you probably wouldn't remember them a few years later when they get their own shows.
It's true. From Lenny Henry, Lexus Sale, everyone.
I do remember what you were saying about that, because Loads of Money just came out of nowhere as well, wasn't it? He was just there. He'd have like not even a 5-minute sketch.
Yeah. And it started off with that one character, which I think they started off with just like the management doing that.
They just started off with the management. I think, I
don't like crackling. I don't like any type of pork. Them sort of ones.
The management. They were good. I can't remember all of their sketches, but I do know I was entertained, and I do know that if I knew they were on, I'm watching it. It's the kind of program I said I've got to watch it.
Definitely. How many episodes did they have, Chris?
It was on for 10 years.
Really?
66 episodes it ran for. Over 10 years. 88 to 98. Gareth Howe, Norman Pace. Yeah, no, it was good. I remember it was one of them must-watch things. Was it LWT or ITV? It was on.
LWT. It's the last show on LWT.
Yeah.
Remember, LWT was London Weekend Television. Started at 6 o'clock on the Friday and ended at 11 on the Sunday.
It felt like the weekend had began, didn't it? When you knew that was on. It felt like the weekend had began.
It's true. There's another level of like broadcasting television. It was like when LWT came, you're watching quality television now.
Yeah.
All the television before that's cat.
It's true. It's true. You're
it's like, right, I'm tuned in because this is
quality weekend television.
And that's true.
You're right.
Yeah, they got given a chance to do a one-off special. I think it was a Christmas one-off special in '86, and it was from that they were given the series a couple of years later in '88, and so it ran for 10 years.
Yeah, and again, they kind of broke the mold with the funny guy, geeky guy. They were both like just nutters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, both equally as funny as each other.
Yeah, there was no bullying.
Do you remember they played? I can remember another spot. They played like nudists, two Swedish nudists.
Sounds familiar.
Running around like, but they run in a way so you wouldn't see bits, sort of thing.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. I know they had a lot. They had a lot of sketches, man. They had a lot of sketches.
They were cleverly done as well. A lot of their sketches, I remember.
Yeah.
Big up to Hayden Pace. They were good.
You lot sound tired now, man.
I'm sinking down. I'm not used to being like this comfy. Normally I'm not saying that the studio ain't comfy. I love being in the studio. But I'm sitting in this chair.
Yeah, you're at home, innit? You're in your own.
It seems weird. People listening to us now. This is weird for us. Not only are we chatting to each other like as if we're in the room, we can see each other on a video as well, which is, we see each other in the studio, but it just seems weird now, doesn't it? Just being on video doing it this way.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, we haven't finished with our comedy series. There's going to be a part 3 and a part 4, but there's more to delve into.
This was a big explosion for comedy. We've got so many, like we say, we've done the duos now, we've done the standalone acts. But we go to next groups. We can chat about groups next.
Groups. We're going to go all over the shop for you guys, and just tell you our experience of when we were young and the guys we liked. Everyone stay safe, man. Look after each other. Peace.
Those were the days I remember.